She cheated on me with my boss. Then my boss learned the truth. The worst part wasn't finding out that my wife was cheating on me. It was finding out who she was cheating with. My boss, the man who signed my paychecks, approved my promotions, and shook my hand every Monday morning. But 3 weeks later, something happened that neither of them expected. My boss called me into his office, closed the door, and said 4 words that completely changed the story. "I didn't know about you." And that's when I realized I wasn't the only person she'd been lying to. My name is Daniel, and for 8 years I thought I had a pretty normal marriage. I met Claire when we were 26. She was funny, confident, and the kind of person who could walk into a room full of strangers and leave with 10 new friends. I was quieter. I liked routine. I liked knowing where my life was going. And somehow, that difference between us worked. We got married 2 years after we met. We bought a small house outside Chicago. Nothing fancy. Just a 2-bedroom place with a tiny backyard, a garage that was always too cold in winter, and a kitchen where Claire insisted we needed an expensive coffee machine. For years, I honestly believed we were happy. Then I got promoted. My new boss was a man named Richard. He was in his early 40s, successful, confident, and extremely good at reading people. He also seemed to like me. Within 6 months, I was managing a bigger team and making more money than I ever had before. Claire was proud of me. At least that's what I thought. She started asking questions about Richard. What is he like? Does he have a family? Does he ever go out with employees? At first, I didn't think anything of it. I actually joked about it. "Why are you trying to steal my boss?" She laughed. "Maybe he sounds interesting." I laughed too. I had no idea how close that joke was to the truth. About 6 months later, Claire started changing. She began working later. She bought new clothes. She started going to the gym. And suddenly, she cared a lot more about how she looked before leaving the house. One night I asked her about it. "Are you seeing someone?" She looked offended. "What kind of question is that?" "I don't know, you've just been different lately." She rolled her eyes. "Maybe I'm just trying to take better care of myself." That answer should have satisfied me. Instead, something in my stomach tightened. Then came the phone. Claire had always left her phone on the kitchen counter. Now, it never left her hand. She took it into the bathroom. She kept it beside her while sleeping. And if a notification appeared, she'd immediately turn the screen face down. I asked her once, "Who's texting you?" "Work." At 10:30 at night. She stared at me. "You're becoming paranoid, Daniel." Maybe I was. That's what I kept telling myself. Until one Friday night. Claire said she was going out with her friend Melissa. I believed her. Around midnight, she still wasn't home. At 12:47, I heard the front door open. She walked in quietly. Too quietly. She thought I was asleep. I stayed still. I heard her put her purse down. Then her phone buzzed. She whispered something. I couldn't hear the whole message. But I heard one sentence. "Tomorrow works for me." I opened my eyes. Claire froze. "You're awake?" "Yeah." She smiled nervously. "Couldn't sleep." I looked at her. "Where were you?" "With Melissa." "Until 1 in the morning." She sighed. "Daniel, please don't start." And that's when I noticed something. There was a small red mark on her neck. Not a bruise. Not exactly. But enough to make my heart drop. The next morning, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked the shared credit card account. There was a charge from a hotel downtown. $312. Friday night. The same night Claire had supposedly been with Melissa. I stared at the screen for almost 5 minutes. Then I called her. What's this hotel charge? Silence. What hotel charge? I read her the transaction. Another silence. Then she said, It's not what you think. Those 6 words destroyed whatever was left of my denial. I asked her directly, Are you cheating on me? She didn't answer. And somehow that was the answer. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just asked one question. Who is he? Claire started crying. I never wanted this to happen. Who? She looked at the floor. Then she said his name. Richard. My boss. For a few seconds I couldn't breathe. I thought about every conversation I'd ever had with him. Every meeting. Every handshake. Every time he'd ask me how Claire was doing. I remembered him once saying, You're lucky, Daniel. She seems like a great woman. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the irony was unbearable. I left the house that morning. I drove to a parking lot near my office and sat inside my car for almost an hour. I didn't know what I was going to do. Part of me wanted revenge. Another part wanted to disappear. But there was one thing I refused to do. I wasn't going to walk into the office and explode. I knew if I did that, I'd probably destroy my own career while Richard walked away untouched. So I went to work. Richard was already there. He looked completely normal. He smiled. Morning, Daniel. I looked at him for a moment. Morning. He had no idea. And strangely, that made me feel worse. That afternoon, Richard called me into his office. I assumed he knew. He didn't. He started talking about a new project. Then he paused. Everything okay at home? I looked at him. You tell me. He frowned. What does that mean? I took out my phone. I had screenshots. Hotel reservations. Messages. Photos Claire had accidentally backed up to our shared cloud account. I put the phone on his desk. Richard stared at the screen. His face changed instantly. What is this? I said nothing. He scrolled. Then he looked at me. Daniel. I interrupted him. Did you know she was married? He didn't answer. Richard. He finally whispered. No. I stared at him. Don't lie to me. I'm not. He pushed the phone back toward me. She told me she was separated. That sentence hit me harder than I expected. Not because I believed Claire, but because I suddenly understood something. She hadn't just betrayed me. She had created an entirely different version of her life for Richard. She told him our marriage was basically over. She told him I was controlling. She told him we were only living together because of finances. She had built an entire fake reality. And Richard had believed it. Richard stood up. I swear to you, Daniel, if I'd known you two were still together, I would have ended it. I looked at him. You're my boss. I know. You knew my name. You knew I was married. I knew you were married. I didn't know she was still with you. He looked genuinely sick. Then he said something I didn't expect. I'm sorry. Not defensive. Not angry. Just sorry. And somehow that mattered. That evening, I went home. Claire was waiting for me. She had packed a suitcase. I was going to tell you, she said. When? She started crying. I don't know. I nodded. Does he know we're married now? She looked confused. What? Richard knows. Her face went pale. You told him. No, you did. She sat down. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I asked her. Why? She wiped her tears. I don't know. Yes, you do. She looked at me. Because you were always busy. I almost laughed. So you cheated. I felt alone. So you cheated. You stopped seeing me. So you cheated. She lowered her head. And finally she whispered, yes. That one word gave me the closure I had been searching for. Not because it explained anything, but because she stopped pretending. A week later, Claire moved out. Richard also removed himself from the project I was working on. Then he did something that surprised everyone. He gave me a promotion. Not because he felt guilty. He actually told me, you earned it before any of this happened. I stayed with the company, but our relationship was never the same. Claire eventually tried to come back. She sent long messages. She apologized. She said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. Maybe she had. But by then, I had learned something important. Trust doesn't disappear in one dramatic moment. It disappears slowly. A hidden phone. A strange excuse. A hotel receipt. A lie. Another lie. Until one morning, you look at the person sleeping beside you and realize you don't know them anymore. Claire thought she was choosing Richard over me. Richard thought he was choosing Claire. But neither of them understood what was really happening. She wasn't choosing one man over another. She was choosing a life built on lies. And eventually, every lie came looking for its owner. As for me, I didn't get revenge. I got something better. I walked away with my career, my self-respect, and the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the most painful thing to lose, and the most powerful thing to finally have.